everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindminx Show. I am your favorite Mindminx, and we have some pretty big news. We are now at our new home at Bravery Studios. So this is our inaugural episode, and I think that's such an appropriate word to use because we have some pretty important guests tonight. But first, I want to make sure we get the homework out of the way. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Jason Fitness in Fairfield, New Jersey, as well as letting you know that we're brought to you tonight by Uniquely Coordinated. So without further ado, I want to talk to our guests tonight, who include Monica Brinson, Deborah Salzer,
Hey there.
and Kid Problem.
What's going on, my people?
Hello. All right, so the reason why I felt it was such a great way to have the first episode here and call it our inaugural episode is because we have some candidates in the room. And we have Monica, who is running for president.
Yes.
Like president of the U.S.
Correct. Correct.
And Deborah is running for Board of Ed of Newark.
Yes, ma'am. A1 gets it done. Never salters.
And Kid Problem is a huge influencer that's a part of the campaign, an important part too. And we'll talk more about what that means for your campaign in a little bit. But I want to get to the heart of how Monica Brinson is on the ballot.
Wow. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you so much for having my beautiful team. And this is only a part of my team. My entire team couldn't fit in here.
No, yes, we have some people waiting outside.
Yes, and we have some more people who, aren't here. But I brought people here today who really give you the flavor of what's going on when we get to that. So, I knew I was going to, first of all, my campaign started a little late because I am currently still recovering from sarcoma cancer. Mm-hmm. And thank God I am cancer-free, but I'm still, in recovery.
That's amazing.
So my story began at 7 years old. When I was 7 years old, I looked up to my mother while she was whipping cake batter, and I said, Mama, my birthday is on President's Day, February 18th. I said, one day I'm going to be the President of the United States of America. And she just whipped my birthday cake batter and said, baby, you can be whatever you want to be, put your mind to it. And so, from that day forward, it's always just been in my DNA to be a transformational, inspirational leader. Okay. So I was always fighting for my rights, whether it was when I was a kid and I was fighting for extra time to watch the Charlie Brown special.
That's a great example. That's a great example.
And then falling asleep while everybody else got to stay up late. To, later in middle school, and I'll say this because, everybody would laugh, just like a lot of people are still laughing now about my big goals because it may be impossible to them, but this is a dream inside me that's going to happen.
Okay.
So middle school, I won as class representative and then student council president, all by a landslide, of course.
Wow. Where was that? Because I see that you're from Hackensack,
yes,
or is that
yes.
Okay?
So this was in Hackensack Middle School, and then all 4 years of high school, Hackensack High School, and then freshman year of college, I was class president. So
nice. Those are all pretty big feats, in my opinion, because in those kind of campaigns, it's usually a popularity contest.
Yes. Yes.
So that that's where the popular vote comes into play. So how did it feel? As an adult, knowing that, like hindsight, do you think that it helped build your confidence to where it is now?
Absolutely. Not only did it help build my confidence, it shaped me as the leader that I am today.
Okay.
But I never cared about being most popular, ever. It's just popularity finds me. I don't care if I'm in the back of the room. People know I'm in the house, so it's just a vibe that I give off. It's a leadership vibe that I can't walk away from even if I tried.
Okay.
And it goes back to the inspirational people that surround me, like from you to I'm already around beautiful people, so beauty attracts beautiful souls.
Right. Right. Positive attracts positive.
That's it. So after I graduated from college, even in the workplace, I was deemed nicknames from Monica Harriet Tubman Brinson to Rosa Parks, to I was always
Rosie the Riveter. That's what you give me vibes
Rosie
of
the
from your website
Yeah.
photos and your headshots.
Yeah, that
that
was
you sent.
you got that. You
Yeah,
got you
yeah.
know. And from Aaron Brockovich, anyone like I've always fought out of hostile work environments, and even if it weren't me, I could never keep quiet, even if it meant being fired, being retaliated against by management. I can't sleep at night if someone's being bullied
Right.
or harassed, and nothing has changed.
Right.
Nothing's changed. And so when I lived in Fort Lee, New Jersey, president has always been the end game. But I ran for governor when I sat in that Bridgegate traffic. And I said, you know what? Like, enough is enough. So for me, running for office has nothing to do with being Democrat or Republican. It's about doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
It's about taking the best from the left and the right, and it's supposed to be about the people.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's supposed to be about the people. So, you know, as I worked on, after I got out of my campaign running for governor, because a lot of really strange things happen, you can't have a platform about breaking down corruption and think your tires aren't going to be slapped because you're taking somebody's day
Right.
job away,
Right.
robbing the people, you know? So when my tires were slashed, when I was put on the dark web, I said, you know what? Let me get out of this for a minute and just like understand truly what this is all about. So I knew that I wasn't gonna, as a Democrat, and I don't want to get political, but I'm just letting you know, like, it wasn't about, like, Kim Guadagno was always like a mentor to me, even though like I was running against her. And so after I got out of the race, I started working on her campaign, and it opened my eyes to just socialism. It opened my eyes to what was going on in the Black communities, like really, because Hackensack is pretty diverse. And, you know, and I just knew that when I did run for president, that my calling wasn't just about all of America, which it is all of America, but with a focus on forgotten, marginalized communities, urban areas, Newark, Chicago. Like when we bring excitement, when we bring hope into urban areas, it heals all of America. And so that's really, that's where I am right now. I'm running for president, and it's a grassroots movement, and it starts with Newark.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about then, because obviously we have Deborah, who is running for Board of Education.
Yes.
Yes.
And kid problem.
Yeah.
Who is the solution?
Who's the solution? I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. So let's. Do you play a part in this campaign? Like, what is your background? Like, where did kid problem start?
Okay, so I'm like a positive influencer for the youth. Born and raised in North New Jersey, I've experienced a lot. You know, I came from being negative to positive. It was a lot that went on in my upbringing as far as negative friends, just not understanding what my life was about, not understanding what was my purpose.
Okay.
So trying to fit in and just going through different things, putting myself in situations that I didn't quite understand what I was getting myself into. And it brought me to where I am now, you know, hanging around negative friends. I end up getting shot in my face.
Right.
You know, I had 4 suicide attempts because I didn't like my life. I didn't like
Really?
the person that I saw in the mirror. And just past traumas that I didn't know how to properly vent or properly deal with. And it just showed, you know, the way I was acting, my emotions. Everything was reading angry on my face until one day I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what, you have a purpose. You're here for a reason, and you could take your experiences and teach someone else. So
Okay.
I've been making inspirational content.
Okay.
I've been speaking on topics that need to be spoke on. You know, we're having behavior issues in the schools.
Right.
You know, violence
Right.
is a big thing that's going on in my community. And I'm tired, you know. I feel like there's
How
no...
old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You look like a baby. He's a baby.
I feel like there's no young face of positivity coming from urban communities. And I want the youth to be able to look up to someone that look like them, that been through the struggles, that understand what they might be dealing with. You know, I dealt with, you know, being bullied. I dealt with
Really?
the identity crisis. I've dealt with trying to fit in. I've dealt with all of these things, so I understand how they feel, and I kind of want to get in there where they're at and basically give them a safe space.
Okay.
Like currently, I've been mentoring the youth. From
And we have one of
ages.
your mentees
Yeah,
here
I have
with
one of my
us.
young guys right here.
He's in our control room
Yeah,
watching.
you know, just having them involved and with what I'm doing,
Okay.
and to show them that you can do whatever you want in life. You don't have to, you know, just because you live in the chaos, don't mean you have to be a part of the chaos.
I love that.
So I want to teach them how to navigate and what to look out for, because I've experienced a lot. You know, growing up in these neighborhoods, I became a young father at 17 years old.
Wow.
You know, and that changed my life. Now I'm a single father raising my daughter in these same communities.
Wow.
And now that I'm a father, I see things differently than I saw them when I was younger.
Do you suppose, though, because it's not anything unique that you went through being a young parent, you know, that's statistically how it would go. But what do you feel was different about your personality, your experience? Because it's not atypical to be 17 and having a child. What is different is the fact that your attitude, even the tone in which you're speaking right now, one, sounds very educated. Two, sounds like there's a stillness and a calmness
Yes,
Absolutely.
everybody's
to
saying.
it. It's not hard. You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
there are people who you know, like they're abrasive
Yes.
is the personality, and that's not what you're exuding at all.
Right.
So what is it different about you that created this stillness? Because we're statistics, you know, at the end of the day.
Right.
So how did you break out of that statistic?
No, just like you said, being a father young, and I took it on by myself. I'm raising my daughter by myself.
Wow.
So just seeing how society is set up, with the negativity that's constantly promoted about the people that live in my community, and I feel like the kids don't have nothing to look up to. Everything is kill, shoot, do drugs, sell drugs to your people, and I feel like just seeing these things, and how my daughter reacts to these things. She go to school and asks me why other kids talking grown, talking about sexual things, talking about boyfriend and girlfriend. My daughter's 10 going on 11 in 2 days. So the questions that she asks me, it scares me that, it's other kids, there's kids in her school, being
Talking
exposed
about that,
to things that kids shouldn't be exposed
Right,
to.
they're not allowed to be
Their
kids
minds
anymore.
are not developed enough to hear or talk about the things that they're talking about. So it concerns me, and but so much I can do, but I can be involved with a spark to change the neighborhood. So that's why I got on board with this wonderful candidate that's running for school board. That's why I got involved with this wonderful person, Monica Brinston, and they're part of the vision, and they see where I'm coming from. They feel me. They understand what's going on. These two they're in the school system. They know what's going on. They see it firsthand.
Right.
And I was part of the problem. Now I'm part of the solution.
Love it.
And yeah, just being a single father, raising my daughter by myself, you see things differently. The things that, I didn't quite understand as a youth, now I understand what my mother was saying. Now I understand what uncles
That's
and
usually
everybody
how it
was
works.
saying.
That's usually
So-
how it works. Is you need to experience it, walk a mile in the shoe, and then you know what to do.
So now, I just took my platform. Everybody have a platform. Everybody have a phone nowadays.
Yep.
But not everybody is using their platforms to push positivity, to push something that's inspirational, influential in a positive way. And I just understand what they're going through, because I've been through it.
Gotcha.
And I've made it to a point where I don't let any negativity bothers me.
That was going to be my next question. I'm sure there's people who try to push a button just to show you that you really are where you're coming from. So how do you deal with those types of people who aren't, necessarily trying to trigger, but just trying to get a reaction?
I had to realize that, when you're pushing positivity and you're just trying to do great in a community full of negative, people can come off in a way that they don't even understand. Some of them are not used to, congratulating. You're doing something good. You're doing something that I can't do. So I take the negativity as, I wish I could be doing that just like you. So I don't let it affect me at this point. I used to. I just be like, why they don't like me? Why they mad at me? And I felt like I was the only person trying to do something for the community. Like I felt like I was the only person trying my hardest to wake up the youth, to show them that they don't have to be a drug dealer, that they don't have to be a gangbanger, that they don't have to be high all day, and just, I just want them to want
that's
more.
a tall order, my friend. That's a super tall order.
Right.
Now, we're talking about the largest city in the state of New Jersey.
Right.
How is it? I guess what I'm trying to ask, being that it's the largest city, your community is a small peg in that.
Right.
Do you want to just stay in there, or do you hope that it will grow to other urban communities in the state and even across the nation?
Like I said in the beginning, I want to tackle the behavior issues that we're having in the schools because, there's a lot of youth that's coming from these urban communities that's dealing with past traumas, or, they're smoking young. And I tell people, when you start smoking weed at a young age, it messes with the chemical imbalance in your brain, which will make you get irritated easily. You react off emotion, or you just plain simple just don't want to focus. So my whole goal is to basically implement mentoring in these schools. That's why I was like, you know what? I need to try to do it myself first so I could be able to, propose these programs, mentoring inside the schools. So right now, like I said, I'm doing 101 mentoring to basically show them like, look, I'm being active in the solution. I'm stating that it's a problem and I'm trying to be part of the solution. Now, how can we get this implemented in the schools? So it's, I'm just taking steps forward into, to the goal. My grandfather used to always tell me, if you want something in life, you got to try your hardest and God will make it easier for you. So I don't see this just being a Newark thing. I want it to expand, but, the people got to see it working in Newark first, and then we could go to Chicago. Then we could go to Baltimore.
Now you see our grassroots.
Just like the movie, build it and they will come.
That's it.
Right. So, like, I will be at the next the next school board meeting, and I'm going to ask them, what are we doing about the behavior issues in the school? Right. What are we doing? Because at the end of the day, it's not they're bringing it into the school problem. If they're bringing it to school, we're here to learn. They're affecting other kids that's trying to learn. We need to talk about these things because at the end of the day, they will take what they have going on outside, bring it into the school, and then they'll end up hurting somebody in our city. So if we don't tackle these things, it's only going to get worse. Right. And I just hate the every man for himself concept. Yeah. There's no every man for himself. No. There's no every family for themselves, because at the end of the day, that child that you could have...
It takes a village.
Right. That child that you could have spoke to for 5 minutes and inspired them, that could be the same child that could possibly hurt someone in your family.
Yeah. How do you create a solution for those children whose, it's not necessarily the children, but it's the parents?
Basically, like right now with my mentoring, I want to provide resources. So I got my nonprofit, Change Start With Us. So basically with the grants that I receive, I want to be able to ask a kid, what's going on? Once I gain the trust, I asked them, like, what can I give you to stop you from, if it's selling weed, if it's smoking, what can I do to stop you from doing it? Oh, I just need an outfit. That's why I'm trying to sell weed. I just want some shoes. My mother can't afford it. Okay, how about you not do these things, and I get a report from Mom Dukes or the counselor, whoever it is, and at the end of the month, I use some of the grant money and I take you shopping to get the things that you need. Okay. If you're smoking weed, if you get stopped for the month and it's all out your system, what do you want? What can I do?
There's a reward system.
Right. It's very important to basically, show them.
How about for behavioral though? Like my question, like, is honestly asking, like, if there's a kid has a behavioral issue, and they've tried to contact the parent, and the parent's like, he can act however he can act.
Sometimes the outsource is needed.
So you still feel like you're able to contribute a positive reaction from the family. I feel
like sometimes, like, I grew up in a single parent household. My father wasn't there, and I didn't really have someone to talk to that I felt like he understood. So an outsource is very important, and just watching the guys, even the people that I'm mentoring right now, change and understand where I'm coming from, and me telling them my experiences, and they like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I've been through that as well. So once I tell them how it's going to play out, it brings a bond. And like I had said before, we could tackle these behavior issues by bringing the resource to the child. What's going on? What's making you act this way? I asked them, what is trust? what is abandonment? What does these things look like, so I could gain that? You know, once they tell me someone that I trust would do this and that, you know, I'll show them that I'm this and that. When they show me abandonment and they say this is abandonment, this is what it looks like, I try my best not to be anything close to it. So once I gain that and they realize and understand that I'm really here for them and want to see better for them, they kind of start to come out their shell. And they, you know what I mean? That's how we break the behavioral part of it.
I love that. And so again, Sienna, because I'm already there. You guys are going in front of the Board of Education. Now, so Deborah, talk to us about where you play your part in all of this.
Well, pretty much like Kid was saying, because when you were talking about the behavioral aspect, the last teaching assignment that I was on ended, I was there 6 months. And the way that I dealt with the children, like they had run through 3 science teachers before I got there.
Okay.
They thought they were going to run me out the door. No, it didn't happen that way. So I simply held them accountable.
Okay.
And the way that I do that is when they're acting out, I'm like, well, hold on. Let's raise our hand. Let's have a seat. But so you work with them. And once they see that you care and that they can't just railroad you like everyone else who really doesn't care, that's the main thing. They want to see if you're going to stick in there with them. Yeah.
Okay.
So that, I know I did this and this ran this person. I mean, all it is. Go ahead. Now that you have that out your system, have a seat. And, and literally the people there could not believe they walked past. It's like, are the kids even in there? And they were learning because they weren't learning anything.
Okay.
And so to be able to fight through the chaos, calm the chaos, and educate, that takes a lot, right? It takes a fortitude that everyone does not have.
Right.
And they know this. So one thing, like real, no real, right?
Right.
Kid will tell you, we're on the streets, we're with these kids. Like I'm born and bred in Newark. Love this city. It's in my blood. Like I wasn't trying to do all of this. My mother, who was a pillar, who I give all honor to, she's the last matriarch standing, was one of the first blacks to own her own home in the South Ward during a time when it just was not happening.
Right.
And God blessed her with that.
For several reasons, probably.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
And actually a Jewish lawyer said to her, and I'm the youngest of 8, and so she was like, he said to her, I'm going to sell this house. And I see that you and your children are here. I'm going to work with you so that you can have this house for your children. And my mother raised 8 children, 18 grandchildren, 22 great-grand.
Wow.
And the community. Before there was a woman's center, my mother was the woman's
She's
center.
got to be tired.
She's got to be tired. Yes. Before there was a homeless shelter, before there was a place, I mean, she got into it with my dad one time. I remember it like it was yesterday, 3:00 in the morning, because she gave someone a glass of water. He was just like, Elroy was his name, knocked on the door. We knew who he was, and she gave him the water, and he just had a fit. And I wasn't trying to have this. I wasn't trying to be this activist, this advocate. I just wanted to mind my business, go through life.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan.
They just trip me and pull. I've been advocating since kindergarten.
Wow.
So, which is funny, because one day I was ranting and raving about, oh, this is not what I do. Oh my God. Then my family's on me. Why do you care? These people don't care about you. What are you doing? Just keep your job. Forget, and then it came to me one day when I was ranting, everything that I had done. From kindergarten to high school. I forgot I was on state boards for students. I was the senior class president. I got the mayor's award when I graduated. Didn't know I was going to get that. So, but it's natural. And I remember I was in school, I believe it was 6th grade, and they were picking on Martha Cahigas was her name. And she was just to herself, and it just kept bothering her. And I just had it one day. And I went walking, I had candy, whatever I had in my hand, I threw it, and I just started chasing them. Leave her alone. And it was just like, so I don't like bullies, right? And so when you talk about the behavioral aspect and being in the schools, like I'm telling you, I had a 12-year-old curse me 6 ways from Sunday. Nobody in their life ever use the word she used.
Wow.
But it wasn't just the words, it was with vehemence, like, "Argh." I was like, wait, what? You know, and so, of course, they scooped her up and ran her out. But what happens is, and this is the problem that we're having with not having good educators, because they're not going to take this abuse when the administration does not support them.
Right.
So
Right,
I'm
of
not
course.
going to say that we don't have good teachers, but good teachers are not going to tolerate that
Right.
abuse. The child was back in school,
Like nothing.
no repercussion, no, you know, and then a kid brought a gun to school one day, took video in the bathroom with it, posted it, stunting. He's in school 2 days later. Now, and they didn't tell everybody, but we knew we were on lockdown. I was like, what is going on? They didn't say anything. They try to keep it in-house. But at the same time, and I told them this. So I had the best students in class, right? I know who they are. I knew I had to feed them. At the same time, I'm dragging these along who can't pronounce the word literal or spell the word excellence in 7th grade, right? So I'm bringing them along. At the same time, I have to keep these who are at the top of the game
At
stimulated.
the top of the game. Yeah.
So what
That could be frustrating.
it was really it's a gift. I can't because people can't do it, and then they'll tell you, oh, it's 14-1, and it's not. You have 26, 28 students, and you're one teacher.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the fortitude to do that, they're pulling their hair out. The kids are screaming and yelling, but it's simple. If the administration, those at the top who are walking around trying to make it look good, would support those teachers, they wouldn't leave. Like before I was gone, they lost a math teacher. Like I said, before I got there, they ran through 3 science teachers.
Right.
They ran through 2 ELA teachers and things like this. So yeah.
But and just to play devil's advocate, because that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I agree with you. The administration has to, but don't you feel that you know, just because they have a teaching degree doesn't mean they have the character needed.
Right.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going. Because are we talking about the admin with the or everybody in general?
Just the teacher themselves. Like,
Right.
you know, I understand a teacher shouldn't put up with abuse from a student
Right.
and not have support from the administration.
Remember I said the
Totally
good
get
teacher.
that.
The good
well,
teacher.
but I'm saying, like, they could be a great teacher, but they need that perfect
Absolutely.
environment, which this obviously is not.
And right, and that's what I'm saying, because one school, the PhD science guy left. When I took over there as a sub, I had to create the science program.
Wow.
They had nothing, and by the time I left, it was like, you know, never before students who didn't want to work, they're working, they're doing these things, but it takes someone that can connect with these kids.
Right.
I know the frustration because, like I said, in kindergarten, my mother told me this story a few years ago, and I was cracking up. My kindergarten teacher called her crying, like sniffling. And she thought something happened. And she was like, what is wrong? She was like, I don't know what to do with Deborah because she's bored. Like, and
Crying? Like, I'm sorry.
crying, sniffling.
All right, as a parent, if any of my kids' teachers called me crying, my response would be, sweetheart, I think you're in the wrong profession.
You're in the wrong
Or it's
line of
time for
work.
that spring break or something.
You know what I'm saying?
And she
fell
was
out.
like, what? My mother was like, what? Because
Don't know what to do. She's bored.
and here's the thing, and I remember it as if it were yesterday, because I could tell time. I was like 4. I knew what the time was. I saw the clock. I just got dressed. I'm in school at 8:30, and I had my cute little outfit on. My godmother just sent me for my birthday. I'm all happy. I'm in school. We get there. It's like 10 o'clock. She's like, nap time. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. Like, I wasn't disrespectful because you wouldn't see me. My mother didn't tolerate that. But I was like, but I don't understand. And then I got to wrinkle my outfit to lay my head on the desk. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, and she wanted me to play with blocks. I was like, can I have a book? Like this, it just didn't make sense. Certain things just did not make sense to me. I know you want some free time, but I just got to school.
Yeah.
You know, and so going through that young and through and through middle school and high school, they all understood that I needed to be stimulated. Like, if you are not teaching me something, why am I here? And that's why our children are disengaged now, because they're not being taught at a level to agitate their effervescence right? It's a whole lot going on. What do you have to put me on that level? Like, I need to be there. And the teachers, and I've seen it, you have good teachers. And I'm not talking about just with degrees, because those degrees are like, I was going to say something you could do with that paper, but it means nothing if you do not have what it takes inside to connect. Our teachers growing up connected with us. It wasn't like, I had one teacher say to me, you think I'm reading 30 essays? Mama got a life. I'm just grading for if they complete it or not. That's why our children can't write a complete sentence. They don't do punctuation. It's just a bunch of gibberish. If you have them write, everything's on the computer. I made them write. So one kid asked me, well, why you ain't do nothing on the computer? I said, because I don't want to. Continue, right? I gave them essays. I took my time with them. But teachers today, and I'm not talking about the few good ones who are really attempting to pour into these children. I'm talking about the ones who are going for a paycheck. Child, I'm not here for this. I ain't got time. I got a life. I'm not grading papers when I get home. I don't do work on Fridays. I give them, get your computer and your headphones. Just be quiet and leave me alone, right? Our children are not stupid. They're very sharp. And so if you don't care enough to give me the energy that you feel I'm worth, why am I paying attention? And I'm going to disrupt someone else. And I've seen that happen. I had to tell these teachers and admin, I said, that adage, one bad apple, truly does spoil. My top student one day, get in class, he got a 50. I almost had a heart attack because he was playing with one of the kids who never gets reprimanded. I called his mother. I'm not coming in. I'm not coming to the school. Told the admin. Several things happened. This kid, and I had to talk to him in the hallway. I said, what are you doing? What's going on with you? You're playing with this kid. You got a 50? Unheard of. Had nothing less than hundreds because he put in the work. If I asked a question in class, he would answer it, and I would just bring it out. After the conversation, he was back to himself. However, but that when they don't see other children being held accountable, it's like, why am I doing all of this?
Why should I?
Why?
Exactly.
You know? So it starts with first, and I hold myself accountable. That's why I can hold everyone else accountable.
Okay.
Because
True.
it has to be that way.
I agree.
You know?
And I actually wanted to piggyback off that. Like, it is going to be frustrating for a lot of teachers out there who the last teachers didn't do their job. You know, if they don't do their job, now you got kids that's coming to school that really don't understand the work. Now they don't want to pay attention. Now they want to distract the class. You know, that's how a class clown becomes a class clown because he doesn't understand the work. Absolutely. Now he's bored in the class. So that's what I want to say to the board, like, how do we get him to redirect? How we get him back on path if he feel as though I don't understand?
And that's why I'm running for school board, because the board themselves don't want to be held accountable. Right? But A1 gets it done. See, because I'm about the children. You know, I'm talking, I would get to school some days 6:50 in the morning, and I'm not leaving till 5:30, 6:30, because I want to make sure. And when the content wasn't there, and that's another thing, no lesson plans, or if there's a lesson plan, it's late, or you got to beg for the curriculum. If I was not savvy enough and did not have the skill enough to prepare for these children, there would have been weeks where they had no work. But I was not going to see that because I understand. And the problem with the board is they have a script that they go by. They're not in these schools. They're talking about, this, that, and the other thing, but nothing's happening. And that's what I said. You're in a bunch of meetings. You got a bunch of plans. Our children are dying while you're playing tiddlywinks with whomever you're playing with.
She said tiddlywinks.
I can't.
I'm sorry.
I just want to piggyback on what they're saying. And to put all this together, I also substitute teach in the hood.
I knew that.
Right? So to come from like a suburban area, when I come in, I'm like, hi, the kids don't think they're going to play me. They're going to play Miss Pig. But what happens is when I do come in, I'm a breath of fresh air because I don't have children, but I know what it's like to have an amazing, amazing parents, God rest my mother's soul. And I know what it's like to connect with kids and be a kid and be happy. And to your point about the class clown, if you let a clown into the palace, the whole palace becomes a circus. So what I do when I see my class clown reaching out and wanting more, I make that class clown my leader.
There you go.
I'm going to have you hand out my paper. If there's not a lesson plan, I'm going to create something. If you're going to sing to, who is that foxy Red, we're going to take that song and make it, something educational. You have the beat. We're going to turn all of that around, And so to the point of the behavioral issues, there's a lot going on. The kids in Newark, they make a lot of points. And I say to them, I say, listen, I was class president. You tell me, how can you make your school better? So I have them write, I teach them how to advocate.
Girl, me too.
And I have them write down what's going on, what can make things better. I present it to the principal. I tell them who I am. I let them know that, I was the first African-American female to run for governor in the history of America. I let them know, yes. So before Stacey Abrams, it was me. I was the first candidate. She was the first nominee. But we're all making history together. And so when they see that someone can be real and come in and connect, and if I see someone crying, I'm gonna like over what is going on. People just want to see, even though I'm concerned. I don't care if you have a splinter. Oh my God, let me say that. People want to know. The kids want to know you care.
Right.
Maybe the kids have come in and they're upset because they're still hungry.
Yes.
They came in late and it's not their fault. And there's a lot of teachers who will just yell at them, or they don't need all of that. They just need you to come on in here, join the morning song.
Give them an apple.
And give them an apple. And that's really what it comes down to, in identifying what is going on. Just by, you can just have your children draw an art and look at some of the art they're making and see that they're telling you that something's not right in the home. And when you identify that, we need our counselors. And a lot of the teachers and the administration, they're not savvy enough to say this child needs a little bit more. Something's going on, So it's about just having the street smarts, or just knowing, just caring.
That instinct.
And when my kids know that I care, they do better.
Absolutely.
So this is why mentorship is really important.
It's
and
very
just
important.
To put it all together, that's how we're making the difference that we need to see. Because quality education starts with us, first of all, bringing awareness to what really isn't going on, and bringing in what can be better and being the change that we need to see.
Absolutely.
So I'm starting it in Newark, bringing my voice and amplifying their voices even louder. And we're just going to keep it moving from Chicago to Maryland to anywhere hood, anywhere where a marginalized community, black, brown, wherever, needs to be freed from this. That's how we're all together.
So this is one of, obviously, your major platforms in your candidacy.
Yes.
So let's talk about what you hope to accomplish. Being that you've chosen a ticket, and so I want to bring this up.
Yes.
Obviously, just within the last couple of days, the two main parties of in the U.S. announced their candidates.
Yes.
So obviously we know that Biden is now the candidate for the Democratic Party, and Trump was chosen again as the Republican candidate. But you are running on the Republican candidacy.
Yes. So what's going on there is that, yes, I was a supporter of President Trump. You had two choices, corrupt or more corrupt.
Lesser of two evils.
Right. And I'm here. I'm rolling up Shirley Chisholm style. You know what I mean? I'm not going away. And, you have Joe Biden, who is casket ready, and you have President Trump, who has 91 criminal charges, who, if he were a black man, he would have been pistol whipped for jaywalking. And also, no black people I know, they don't want them golden kicks. And they don't want them sneakers.
Very disrespectful.
That he's trying to,
Right, yeah.
so,
he did the same thing in Puerto Rico.
Right,
by
just
throwing.
That was nobody.
Right, no,
it's not
doing
politically
that.
right. But anyway, my point is that as this is all playing out, I want President Trump to know I will take it from here when they take you away in handcuffs.
Right.
So while they're playing all of that out, and while everybody's getting behind corruption, we are doing what we're doing and just like amplifying our voices.
Absolutely.
And just like making history together.
Absolutely.
And just we're working while everybody's talking about what they're doing. We're already doing it.
100%.
Yeah.
So now, again, being that you chose a party,
Yes,
to go with, why didn't you go the route like independent or one of those write-in ballot type of?
I think eventually it's going to have to come down to write-in ballot, but I'm not going to give up the R. But what I am going to do, and what I suggest, is that for anybody who does want to vote for me or sign my petition, whether I get even the 1,000 in New Jersey or not, I want specifically the black community has been disenfranchised by the left and the right.
Absolutely.
Republicans, the NJGOP, who I've written tons of strategy for, that they don't they don't get behind me. They want me to get behind.
Sure.
And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. But my point is that it's just really about what the message that I want to send to Black people and all people who have been forgotten. Go independent right now. Flirt with the parties and let them work for you. Don't just say, you know what, I've had it with the Democrats. Let me go independent and then decide which way. Just go for the best candidate.
That's it.
But if Black people now, where I feel Democrats have forgotten them, look at the hood. The hood is dirty. It's dangerous. And it is a hostile environment. And not everybody wants to live in these conditions. Our kids are angry because they've been failed.
That's right.
By everybody.
Everybody.
Republicans in New Jersey, they're not trying to run a candidate. They don't care. They won't go. I'm the only candidate who's in the hood.
That's right.
And I mean it, and I love making a difference there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's really what it comes down to. I'm not going anywhere. It's just a grassroots movement. People are seeing me from all over the world. Kids' brand is blowing up. Absolutely. Your brand is blowing up, and we're just here being the change that we need to see.
That's it. Being the change.
Right. So if you're seeing this type of action, and so much support at this grassroots level, why aren't you starting there? Like, you're literally going from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Starting where?
Like, so you have this grassroots movement that is obviously working. You have a great team around you, and you're focusing on a needed area. And then you're jumping all the way. Like, one political thing I will say. I think this country is entirely too large to be governed under one government, and that's all I'm going to say. So, but that same, you're picking an area to focus on.
Right.
How can you then focus on that area if you now have the entire country to try to entreat?
Right. So within a master's degree in business, right, and working in sales, I look at each state, each area as like a sales territory. So once I spark the change that needs to be, I find my top leaders. I find someone who has a voice here, someone who has a voice. After I take their candles and light them brighter, then I keep lighting all over America.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's how that happens.
Right, but that's not going to happen in like the next 6 months.
That's okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, why aren't you like building that and doing that here, sparking that candle here, and then have some leadership role at the local level? You know what I'm saying?
Oh wait, why don't I? I'm sorry.
Like why didn't you?
You mean like mayor?
Mayor, councilman.
Because for one, I train mayors. I train councilmen.
Okay.
I wrote some of Trump's black strategy. I do the NJGOP. Okay. I create all these big things. I'm behind the scenes.
Are you a part of the Women's Political Caucus of New Jersey? I am.
The women's what?
Political Caucus of New Jersey.
I don't know. I'm not.
No?
No.
I am.
But so maybe you need to, I don't know, you're Republican. You can sign my signatures.
It's all parties. It's just women's
political.
Well,
I thought you said women's Republican.
No.
Oh,
political caucus.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's literally
for the record, sorry.
I am actually really political, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. Yeah, so I'm a part of the Women's Political Caucus of New Jersey.
Yes.
It's literally just women of both sides of the party that come together because we, as females, are disenfranchised in that arena. So, it kind of like disheartens me when I see certain women speak the way they do at such a high level. We won't name any names. It's embarrassing.
This campaign is to bring everybody together. I'm after you start at governor, I've already, I don't want to call it lower level, but the end goal or game isn't the mayor, it isn't the councilwoman, it's president of the United States of America. And, I know the bar is really low with our current leaders of what the qualifications should be, but it's certainly, I'm not inspired by Kamala. I'm not inspired by her. I'm not inspired by Joe Biden, his son on crack. I'm not inspired by President Trump, who's
I hear them laughing in the control.
I'm not inspired by, don't get me wrong. I applied for The Apprentice, and I appreciate Trump's work then, but the now, it's an insult to every black man I know or in jail that he's running around with 91 criminal charges.
And the running around part,
You
not
know,
even
and
behind bars at all.
raising money not for the campaign, but to beat charges. I'm not gonna. My voice is look. If I had the money that everybody else had, I would already be there. So it also comes with money too.
Right.
But for right now, also my voice is being raised to a point where whenever I walk in a room, you know I'm there. I mean, I launched the Phil Murphy recall. Phil Murphy knows when I walk in the room who I am.
Right. I did read that.
Raz Baraka knows when he hears my name, he's not going to be, not to get into all of that, but you can't even clean up Newark. So why are you running for governor? So is that everybody in New Jersey can be illiterate and streets are dirty? We're just not interested.
Right. And
people want better.
Right. And to add to what she's saying or answer your question, because I actually, so you have those of us, we who are on the ground, grassroots, right? And once we meet in that, like she said, the light is happening because we're each in our area setting things on fire.
Right.
Like I walk in a room, they're on fire. They, so for her to be there, it works because we are here.
Right.
Okay.
Like I actually petitioned for mayor in 22.
Okay.
And they kept throwing my petitions in the garbage because they know who I am. So if you see my name on the ballot, it's over, right? So we went through that. But then but the problem that we run into with that is when you have those who are focused like we and are not trying to get in the house or in the bed with these people. And then you have those who are making noise just so that they can get in the bed with those people. So for her to be on a higher platform, it works because while she's here with us, like when you build a bonfire, you just keep adding the stuff and now the house is on fire. Everything around is on fire. So that works because now she can do that while we're doing this,
right.
So like Kid has a nonprofit. I also have a nonprofit, Newark One Ward Wide, because it's all about all of us. It's not about any individual, right? And so one finger, I could poke you in your eye or stab you in your throat, but if I get a whole fist, I could punch through some brick or
That's a great
whatever.
Analogy.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that because we're doing that, that's why she can do that.
Okay.
Right.
And you're not. So have you gotten all of your signatures that you need?
You know what? I haven't gotten all the signatures, and I haven't even really been focused on it because, first of all, I need signatures from everywhere, right?
Okay.
So my whole point was to get 1,000 signatures here just to make history and beat Trump in New Jersey.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it would have happened by a landslide. That I promise you. And he knows it, right? And but right now, if I get the signatures, I get them. If not, I don't. My focus right now is help healing our community, our Black community, help healing America. And I can see that everybody sees what I'm doing because President Trump, I see you stealing my material. You can't, sir. You can't.
Make sure it's copyrighted.
You know what? You can talk about being there for Black people all day. It doesn't need to be copyrighted. It's his actions. You can talk about it, but I'm doing the work right here. Yeah. I'm doing the Harriet Tubman work right now. So that's really basically all about. I think you had a very fair question, and it's about.
I hope you don't feel I was trying to. Okay.
No, it was fair.
Because I feel like there's something there, and I just feel like and I understand why this is your end goal. So like this is what you want, so you're going for it, and that's super commendable. But I feel like if you took the steps, do you think it would help or hinder that end goal?
I think that I'm right where I need to be right now. Okay. And right now we can call this an awareness campaign, right? Robert F. Kennedy, his team knows I'm here. Everybody's watching. And so we're going to see, again, we have, and you don't see him getting out of the race. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley
she had
dropped.
to, Nikki Haley, who is a beautiful person from what my friends tell me, she lost me at there's no racism. Like she lost her mind, like on that. And just that. You know what I mean? Because if you were already starting with that, then you don't understand a whole lot. And I'm not saying we need to stoke racism or what, but just admit it's here.
Right.
And I mean, like if she can't even admit that there's racism, she can't even admit that they don't really help black candidates or women in the Republican Party. I'm the one who's been fighting for that. Kim Guadagno's been fighting for that. Do you know what I mean? So if you can't even say there's racism, you don't have anybody's back.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, it's an awareness campaign.
Awareness
and we're gonna
campaign.
get. And I'll tell you this right now. When President Trump goes to jail, when Joe Biden goes to the nursing home, and when Hunter goes on ahead to prison, all of them together,
Right.
I will be the first black female president in the history of America. Ain't that right, Shirley Chisholm?
All right. All right.
You know, MonicaBrinson.com for more information.
MonicaBrinson.com for
Yes.
more information. We could also find you on social media.
You sure can.
You guys will have all the links below the video, so you guys can definitely follow. And so we're about ready to wrap things up.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
guys' time. That's really, really been a great conversation. So
No
thank
problem
you.
at
Thank
all.
you. Thank you for having
We're
me.
gonna get
no
things
problem.
done.
Yeah.
you know?
All right.
We're getting
One
things
person at a
done.
time.
We're getting it done. A1.
A1.
A1 gets it done. Come on, put some sauce on it. A1 gets it done. Deborah Salters, April 16, 2024.
Hey.
Right.
All right. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining in on this episode, the inaugural episode of the Mindminx Show here at Bravery Studios. So, I want you to go have an amazing week and go own it. And see you next time.